Hi, welcome. This is Angela of Ascended World, bringing you element 17 of the Course in Forgiveness as part of the Adventures in Wonderland program. And today, as part of this 7 grouping of, what do we call it? The grouping of relationships, right? Yes, relationships. Today, we're talking about immediate family. Some of the people in our lives that trigger us the most. They bring us the most comfort and love, and they also bring us the most exclusion and irritation and betrayal and disappointment and all kinds of stuff like that. So that causes the judgment, which then prompts the need for apology and forgiveness. Also, that we do that to others. We do that and we take advantage of them. They take advantage of us, like things like that. We have so many lessons incorporated into our immediate family. And those are the ones that tend to trigger us by far the most in our day-to-day lives. So, and that could be your spouse, your kids, your parents, your nuclear family or whatever that is, who you live with at any point, but it's those who you see and you're very familiar with and you're very comfortable with. And so then what happens, you start to overstep boundaries, sometimes we stop honoring each other's journeys and we try to impede on their choices and vice versa. And so we have so many triggers. And so what I call those are our closest soul tribe in this particular faceted, expression of ourselves, because it's all soul agreements. The way I see things and understand them is it's all soul agreements as to, okay, well, I want to learn this set of lessons. I'm creating this blueprint in this particular impression, this particular expression of the facet of the divine that I'm embodying here in these densities, this piece of me. And in that, I want to learn these particular lessons. And to learn these lessons, I have to have others to interact with me, because in this density of separation and duality, we have created so much in terms of propulsion-based, like experience-based and propulsion, right? So that includes repulsion and attraction and all kind of things like that. It includes externalization of our valuing, like thinking that what other people think of us, like our parents or our spouses, or our kids, what they think of us is more important than what we think of us, that if they think highly of us, then we must be worthwhile, right? So we do all these kind of things, or we sacrifice ourselves, they sacrifice themselves for us. There are all these expectations, there's all these obligations. We learn so many lessons with our immediate family in terms of burdens, putting burdens on ourselves and on others, so that we are loved and appreciated by others, so that we believe because we don't otherwise believe that we're worthwhile of love just as we are. And that's part of the lesson. That's part of what we wanted to create, as in my understanding, in this particular set of experiences. So, what do they talk about? Abuse. And even like, you want to talk about the big triggers, right? We can talk about abuse, we can talk about sexual abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, all typically at the hands of people who are the closest to us. And I mean, statistically, it's a vast majority of people who are abused by those who are close to them, have the access to them at any given time. And so we have so many judgments, so many irritations. You can ask any person who grew up, and they have some irritation, some resentment about their parents, about their family, about something that happened around them, like their peers, all kinds of stuff. But we're talking about, well, the peers, they come later. That's going to be, I think, in a couple of elements there. But today, the immediate family. And those are, that's from day one when we're born, right? What family are we born into? What kind of family situation are we born into? What kind of community, right? I talked about that in element 15, the communities. What kind of community is it? Are we steeped in tradition? Are we stuck and limited through requiring ourselves to do something that's just been done because it's been done for generations, And then does somebody who's really close to us enforce that, to enforce us staying in a certain role, staying in a certain place, following the same path of lessons? And, a lot of times we build into that the lesson of being able to transcend that and come and bring it to a close and completion in honoring and gratitude. And that's where we get to today's discussion on forgiveness and acceptance, like apology, forgiveness, acceptance, because we've done it too. Like whether we are the child growing up in it, or we imparted on others, or we have imparted on others in other lifetimes. So many things that we can accept from other people, but when our immediate family displays them, it triggers us to the bone, right? How many times does that happen? Like somebody else can do it and you're like, oh yeah, that stinks, but you don't really get incensed by it until, except when your brother or your sister or your spouse or your kids or your parents do it. It's like, oh no, not here, right? Like my husband always says, he's like, well, there are things you see and you can accept them, right? And you're like, okay, I can see that. But when it's close to home, then all of a sudden the same thing comes in front of you and you get really triggered because it's close to home, right? So therefore, it's related to you, and we can externalize it and exclude it from our energy, right? When we see it outside, because we pretend it's not us, which it is anyway. Or, but when it's somebody who's very close to us or in our day-to-day that we feel like we identify with, that we feel like we're part of that little community, that we're part of that little, nuclear situation that causes us to put identity around it, then we get very attached to what they're doing around us, right? So then we judge it, we get angry about it, we overstep boundaries, they overstep our boundaries, vice versa, they get angry at us for things that we do that don't fit their definition or mold of what we're supposed to be as part of that immediate family. So there's so many layers. And so once we actually clear out all of these lessons and say, yeah, let's A, apologize, B, forgive, then accept and love and have gratitude for, embrace, have gratitude for all the lessons we created through those interactions. Let's just say it's all complete now, and let us be our own individuals as the divine embodied as who we are. Sounds really, really, really easy. And I can't tell you how many times I myself, as well as everybody around me, no matter how long they've been practicing spiritual stuff, they do. It's like, oh yeah, I'm totally in on that. And then they still, get triggered by their kids or their spouse or blank. You fill in that blank, or they do the same, or they have expectations of those immediate family members that fit into their mold, right? That's what we do. And it's something to be very conscious of. And the more we go through this practice, I mean, you might want to do this one a couple of times. The more we go through this practice of apology and forgiveness, acceptance, blah, 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 and having gratitude to complete it. The more we do that, the more we'll be able to just start honoring each other's journeys and saying, you know what, I'm here with you. And you're also on your own journey. And I'm not gonna be somebody who tries to force you to do one thing or that, which, people agree to everything that happens anyway, no matter what it looks like at the expanded consciousness level, because it's a catalyst for something, right? So when we get irritated or we're in judgment of what other people have done to us, what we believe other people have done to us, back to that victimhood thing, it's to transcend it and say, well, what was that a catalyst for in my life? What did it propel or repel me to or from doing? It's sort of like bumper cars kind of thing. So big role the immediate family plays in that, has played in that, but now we're going to resolve that so that we can simply be and see things from the bigger picture, see how they all fit together in the very colorful holographic symphony that we've created here. So on that, our clearing statement for today is, I experience and accept all immediate family, past, present, and future, for what they all are and have been in the bigger picture. It's with apology, forgiveness, and love that I have gratitude for the lessons that are now complete in singularity within themselves, all of us, and myself. So let's close our eyes, take a deep breath, open our hearts as we step out of separation back into wholeness and oneness. And it's from there, and we hold ourselves at the vibration where that is our truth. That's from where we exist, experience, and create. All right. Yeah, there was resistance there. No, I want to hold a grudge. Forget it. I don't want to, I don't want to let this go. This is a good thing because it, allows me to hold grudges without looking at myself in the mirror. That's what I heard collectively. That's really interesting. It was a challenge to sink into that one, but I would say come back and do it a couple times, and it'll be easier every time. It might have been easy for you. That's fine. Yeah, it feels better now. That was good. All right. Well, so our affirmation for today: I apologize to, forgive, accept, nurture, and have gratitude for the lessons and consciousness created by my immediate family, past, present, and future, that are now complete. So check it off the list and let's move on to the next element. All right. Have a great day. Sit in this. You might want to do this a couple of times. You might take a couple of days, a couple of weeks. This one tends to be a pretty intense one for a lot of people, but not for everyone. So just honor your own guidance, and we'll see you next time in the next element. Bye.